Good morning, YouTube friends. It's time for our weekly walk through the garden. I'm Kim, if this is your first time here, and I garden in Zone 4B, upstate New York. And I would say today we have the most flowers, especially on our front walkway, which, I'm not going to lie, is where I focus because this is what we see most often. But it's really looking the best so far. Let's get started. Our front daylilies are blooming. We have the Rudbeckia that came back from last year. We have lavender. I have some plants that I haven't planted yet. Grapes and rhubarb. Our coneflowers that were recently planted here to add color. We have a couple of new plants this week. We're starting to fill in this hole. We have the blue kazoo Spirea that came in the mail this week. And this is lavender that I planted from seed this year. It's really coming along nicely. Actually much better than I anticipated with growing it from seed. I guess I didn't realize it was that easy. Our ruby spiders, daylilies are popping. Still have the Stand By Me clematis and that is the Kismet raspberry, which I think might be my favorite. It's just such an intense color coneflower. Loving that right now. And I have to tell you, I have a lot of expensive daylilies. And this ruby spider, out of all my daylilies, I think is my favorite. It's crazy that one non-expensive, it's from Proven Winners. It's, I don't know, I want to say I paid like $17 or $19 for a quart pot. Beautiful. Stunning. It stands out. And for a red, keeps its intense color. Absolutely love it. I have 3 of them here. So 2 of them are blooming. 1 is getting ready to. More coneflowers. The allium, the drumstick allium, which is leaning over. They're blooming now. That one I accidentally dug up when I did that coneflower, so that's why it's leaning over like that. I haven't had trouble with, I don't think, we'll see on the way through with any of them flopping. I am gonna plant at least, I've already ordered 100 of those bulbs because they really do need to be planted in groups. I don't know if some of mine didn't come back or if they got dug up, which I do, I'm not gonna lie. When I'm planting stuff, bulbs get dug up, but they need to be planted, I would say, at least in groups of 5. More daylilies, stand by me clematis and coneflowers. The liatris is getting ready to bloom. Just a quick peek across the way at the clematis. Stunning. My roses are getting ready to flush again already. And this hydrangea that was burning out is blooming. That one's a pink, which is kind of, well, no, I'll show you. I have two pinks that are soil dependent and one purple. I have some gladiolus coming up. Some more Rudbeckia. We'll cut up the path here. You can see my brunnera is spreading, which is fine. Might transplant that. I'm one person that's a little bit jealous of people's shade gardens. I have very little shade. Really only this kind of front corner of the house is the only shade garden I really get. But let's walk up the path towards that beautiful clematis. Oh, I just love it. Love it. And it's such a prolific bloomer. And then right behind it, the purple hydrangea. Don't know the name of it. It's one that blooms on old wood only. So I'm very fortunate to get blooms on it. It's very much depends on our winter. Lamium is not blooming as much. It's going over a little bit. I have another clematis here. Not sure the name of it, but it is not near as prolific a bloomer. Kind of disappointing because I would like this whole section to be flowers all along that. So maybe I should put a third clematis in there. I think I've tried though. I think I've put one down in there. Maybe it gets choked out or who knows where it's gone. My hydrangeas are getting ready. Close there. A couple of little blooms. The hollyhocks are blooming back there. This bed is very lush. Very full. The hydrangea is beautiful. I love the lace cap look. The trough is full. We had 3.5 inches of water this week, which we needed. We are still on the list to get a well. We have a dug well, which is not holding up at all. So we're having to run water once a week, twice a week actually, for our household. So that's not a lot of fun. And so we're still waiting. We were supposed to get it mid to late June. Now they're saying late July. No recent update, so fingers crossed. This window box, look at those impatiens that I grew from seed. They're doing amazing right now. Same thing with the coleus, grew that from seed. That is really taken off all of a sudden. finally keeping up with the hostas, or overtaking the hostas. Still no flowers on my columbine, but that lemony lace elderberry I planted there is loving how wet that area gets. It is right under the eave of the house, so that area is very wet. Here's one of my, this where we have an evergreen hospital going on here. Not sure I'm going to be able to save that one. Not sure really what went wrong with it, but I took it back out of the ground and put it in a pot, which will either completely seal its fate or rebound. We'll see. It's got a little bit of green still left on the tips. It is the Angel Falls Eastern White Pine. Okay. Back down the path. This hydrangea is also getting ready to bloom. And that Sun King Aralia. Oh my. It has now, I'll have to go back and look at previous videos. It is now up and over the hosta. I was so concerned that it wasn't going to be able to keep up. That is a perfect example of right plant, right place, because it has grown. It has more than doubled in size just by moving it there. It's amazing. Maybe the hosta's not going to be able to keep up with that. Who knows? That window box, those impatiens were bought from my local Amish. They were not planted by seed. I didn't have very good luck initially with planting the impatiens by seed. The one in the other window box is called watermelon, and it was planted, it was maybe my third planting. The other colors didn't come up. I'm not gonna lie, I like this color better, but we'll see. The banana tree, still putting out new leaves. It's working its way above. Still not getting near as tall as I thought it would. The clematis is now dropping down. It made it to the top of the tree and is now coming back down. That's a North Pole arborvitae. Limelight is also going to bloom. It's a little further behind. They're just a little slower to bloom. My red lily beetle has really, the population has exploded. I have a lily here. I forget which one this is called. But now they're starting to destroy the blooms, which is very disappointing. The only reason to have a lily is for the blooms. I'll show you when we go around the corner to the eyeliner lily. Put up a new obelisk. I don't know if that was there last week or not. Planted that summer or evening rose, hardy hibiscus there. I know there's not enough room for it. It seems to be taking, they seem to take quite a while though to actually get huge. So we'll see. That one is Edge of Night, and it's supposed to be the darkest one. And it will be once it gets up to where it can get sunlight. But that's been in there for 2 years, and it's still not getting huge. It probably would grow a lot faster if it got more sun. Those iris shaded out. I've put some labels in with my echinacea so I know not to dig them up as weeds and where I planted them this year. Those are both powwow wildberry. I'm not sure those labels are going to hold up to our snow load though. And if you don't leave them out in the winter, what's the point? So we'll see. Couple of some roses blooming over here. Don't know the name. I have 2 of the ruby spider daylilies here too. One there and one there. Again, they probably wouldn't get as much sunlight here. So a little slower to open. They might be a year younger too. Kind of thinking that they are. The alchemillamalis still blooming. I think I'm getting some iron issues, which is disappointing because I'm using iron tone on some of my areas where I have iron issues, and it doesn't seem to be, it's definitely not quick acting. I don't know. Keep you updated. Planted another coneflower there. I want to do some dabbling in breeding or hybridizing daylilies, just for me, not to sell. And it's very frustrating because they don't open at the same time. And I have quite a few. So I tried on that one. That one was open at the same time as my green turtle key. But the bloom fell off, so it doesn't look like there's any seed head forming where I tried. It's right there. So doesn't look like that was successful. Roses flushing again. The Morden blush. This is where the red lily beetle is just exploding. You can see the damage it's doing. You can see red lily beetle on there. And now they're destroying the blooms. So disappointing. It will probably prevent me from planting lilies. They're doing great though. I mean, overall, I still got a great show. I mean, that's eyeliner lily. It's beautiful. Let me step back so you can kind of see the whole picture. They're very tall. Taller than me. So they're, you know, probably about 5.5 feet tall. Some of them, especially the ones there in the back. We have the iceberg rose in front of it. The Glow Girl Spirea, which I love. I just love the shape of the leaves. I have the hardy hibiscus there, which is still flopping. I propped it up a little bit because it was flopping on the Glow Girl Spirea. I can't have that because I like it. I don't want it ruined. Still have the huge Hosta. The blooms are looking spent and probably should do something about those. I have another King Aralia there. That's new this year from a quart pot. And it's starting to take off too. It's doing really well there. My evening rose, hardy hibiscus, 2 of them, have filled in that spot. I have some verbena Bonariensis growing up there in front. I am the proud owner of a brand new hose link. Love, love, love. I have wanted one forever. And my husband bought me one for my birthday, early birthday present. So that was a huge surprise this week. And installed, and it works wonderful. Love it. I would eventually, like I say, if we get this well thing figured out and installed and we get a good one, because even with a drilled well, you know, there's no guarantees. There are no guarantees in life. But I'm hoping for a good well, because water, I mean, it's a necessity of life. It is not a necessity for my gardens, I'll give you that. But I want to expand my gardens, and that requires water. So we'll see. But the highlight of the week is the hose link, and I am not sponsored. That was our own dollars used to purchase that. I got some new lilies. That are, they were next to that dark one, so I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the same as those back there. Chipmunks and voles tend to move my bulbs around. So I don't know how this one and the dark one got up here in the front. Need to prop that up, because that dahlia's going to bloom there too. My yarrow that I planted from seed. I need to try a updated or maybe like a hybridized yarrow, because this one flops. I'm always having to cut it off the lawn. The soil might be too rich too, I don't know. I planted a midnight masquerade back there because they get huge. I know you're not supposed to plant. I know you're supposed to plant in groupings. We'll see how I feel about that. If it gets big enough, I may need to put more in there, one more. I should have probably put it where another one where this firebird I planted is. I have a little mouse ears Hosta down there. Those blooms are cute, actually. Can't see the Hosta very well. It's kind of overtaken by the strawberries. My mint is flowering. I probably should not let that go to seed, because it'll probably drop on, it's in a container. You want to grow mint in a container, unless mint is the only thing you ever want to grow, because it spreads rapidly, takes over. So I should cut those off, and so they don't go to seed. That lemony lace back there is doing well. And then again, I have one of the drumstick alliums. Hopefully, when I add, they do come up in groups and not just singles. My crocosmia is blooming. It is not my favorite color of red. if that's such a thing. I don't know if you all understand that, but it's an orange red. However, look at the structure of that flower. And they do spread. Let me tell you. I planted, I don't know. I don't remember if there are bulbs or if they are corms or what they grow from, but I only planted a couple and there's a whole bed of them now. I got these from watching Gardener's World. I love that show. It's on BritBox. Got BritBox just to watch Gardener's World. And Monty grows them. I love the structure of the flower. I should try a different color. There's a ton of them here now. My new blue Chiffon rose of Sharon is blooming. Can't wait. I love that color too. It's beautiful. Let's see if I can zoom in. Can't wait. I hope it survives our winter. It's got a ton of blooms on it. Hopefully it survives our winter and gets to be the good 8-10 feet tall and fills in this spot, and then the blooms are up above. Oh, it'll be so beautiful if it survives. It's a zone 5 and we are technically a 4B. But I'm always pushing the limit. This crocosmia wasn't supposed to be for our zone either, and it's here. So, some things. And that iceberg rose, which does die back to the ground every year, but we'll see. I also have a tall evergreen interest there, maybe eventually. Evergreens are slow growing, so. All right, this bed we will eventually bury this dog fence again. I just kept digging it up every time I would plant something, so that was hubby's fix for this year. We'll see. Oh, look at the new growth on this little evergreen. That's nice. This container's finally looking healthy. Almwick Rose is doing beautifully there right now. And just for the record, the Japanese beetles have arrived. I was going around last night putting them in my little soap and water container. So quite a bit of color over here. It's coming along between the coneflower and the rose. So far I've had roses right along because they all tend to flower at different times. I want to say these are powwow wildberry too. Some daylilies over here as well. This one here it is so fluffy. So it has so many ruffles on the edges that it tends to have a little trouble opening up. That one is Guy Meadows, I believe. Guy Meadows? It's something Meadows. I can see the tag down in, yeah, Guy Meadows. We'll see. Last year I thought it was just maybe a seasonal thing. That one, it seems like should open today, so. My Midnight Masquerade is blooming. So I planted some more of that for some dark purple interest. Those coneflowers there are a lot taller for some reason. I have another hardy hibiscus in the back. I want to say that is storm something. We have some daylilies over here opening up. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I pulled up the weeds that I've been saying are helenium. That were over there by the eyeliner lily and that hosta. I've pulled them all up. This is helenium. I planted a bunch from seed. It's not looking well. I transplanted it from the Forgotten Garden, which I never show because it looks horrible. It's a Forgotten Garden. Maybe. I'm hopeful that if I get a well and I have decent water supply, that we can run water out there. Maybe a hydrant, or my husband has told me some things that we can do. And then it will no longer maybe be the Forgotten Garden. I can expand my gardens out there. So that was the problem. Hindsight, I built this round circle garden out in the middle of my front yard, which our front yard is huge. Our driveway is almost 400 feet. But then there was no water out there. So it's not easy to cart water, which once stuff is established, it doesn't necessarily need the water, but planting new stuff out there was a problem. I'm not sure the name of that daylily, by the way, but I love helenium. So hopefully that'll survive and we can get some more of it. It'll reseed maybe. And that daylily is a beautiful color. Got those from my brother. So I just call them the Kevin daylilies. There might actually be a tag buried somewhere. But every time I mulch, they tend to get covered up. Lady of Shallot, still blooming. We had a little bit of rain in the night, so I see Japanese beetle has found my Lady of Shallot. That's what they do. They embed in the blooms and then destroy them. If I had my little container in two hands, he would be in soap and water. There is the rhubarb doing wonderful in its new container. I still have the one leaf there that's dead, but it popped back up and is pushing out a bunch of new leaves. So we'll see how that fares this winter in that container. Another new coneflower there that I planted. I got a bunch from Etsy. Unlabeled. Sombrero lemon yellow. Couple of Munstead wood blooms with another Japanese beetle in it. Another drumstick allium, a single. Strawberries are going over. Not as many of them as there were. Another new coneflower, Ruby Star. They're not bad plants that you get on Etsy. For a starter plant, for a plug, that's, you know, that's very healthy, very good looking, and they're cheap. Sometimes you can get 3 starter plugs for like 6, 8, 11 bucks. Good deal. There's some verbena Bonariensis that's growing in a clump. Hard to see. That's more what I like from it. That's how I'd like the drumstick alliums to be. Here's a new plant, Sesky Gold. Birch, I believe. For in front of the Summer Wine Ninebark. It probably is a little close. Looks good for right now, and that's where the daffodils are all planted, so I had to kind of fit it in between the daffodils as well. Here's the onions, the flowering onions. That's what it looks like when you overwinter onions in zone 4B. It's funny, they were so mushy and rotten looking in the spring. And before I got to dig them out, this is what they did. It's almost like they stiffened back up. So I'm going to collect those seeds. Those will be my onion seeds for this next year. Another, the other rhubarb, still looking good after moving it. It was a little angry at first too. Another daylily. It's getting ready to pop. One of my expensive ones. It is, well, I'll look up the name of it when it actually blooms. My last year's hollyhocks are taken over. Not a bad thing. They're purple, they're pretty, with some striping in them there. But I need a different color because I have a million of them now. Because, of course, if you've grown hollyhocks, you know they reseed. And so they're just all over back there. Everywhere. And it's funny because just a couple weeks ago, those plants were really tiny. And I thought, those are never going to bloom this year. They're not going to have enough time. But I was wrong. They grow pretty quickly. Another daylily getting ready to bloom. So maybe some of these will open. We'll see. Only because, well, I do want to see the flowers, of course, but I want to try crossbreeding, hybridizing some. So I need more than one to be open at a time. Another drumstick allium, a single. I do love those. So maybe if I plant hundreds of them, then they'll be in groupings instead of singles. But as you can see, they stand up pretty straight. They don't flop for as thin as their stem is. Sunseeker's watermelon, another new coneflower. I'm working on more color, if you can't tell. I want all my gardens to be like the front walkway. I want more color at once than just onesies and twosies. There's some hollyhocks there that are getting tall. And some gladiolus coming up in there. This is my only other daylily that's blooming right now, other than the ruby stars. But with daylilies, if you're going to hybridize, you got to know if it's a tetraploid or a diploid. Because you can't cross a dip and a tet. They have to be dip, or tet. So I tried crossing this one. I don't know. We'll see. might be a seed pod. I don't know if that's a seed pod that's growing or if it's another bloom. We'll see. It might be, you know, completely ugly cross, but I want to just dabble in it and plant the seeds. That's what I want to do, because I've planted a lot of seeds. I have a lot of seedlings. All of these daylilies here are seedlings of seeds that I planted. But for the most part, I didn't get any of those. None of those seeds are mine. The seeds are all purchased. So we'll see. I'm trying for some bearded daylilies, which is all pretty much created and done by Brad Best. So I have bought some of his seedlings, or seeds. I have not purchased the seedlings because you want to talk about expensive daylilies, which I totally get. I am not knocking that at all. It is not easy. It's years of hybridizing and discovery, and a lot of work gets involved in all of that. So you're paying for 5, 10 years of work to get a beautiful, expensive daylily. So I know going in when I spend money that full well that it's worth it and what I'm in for. Speaking of which, we do have a new daylily that opened up this morning. It's a very intense yellow and burgundy. It's something music, I think. I would have to unbury the tag. I need to start labeling my daylilies too before the tags disappear. So maybe I could try crossing that one today with our, we'll see. You have to wait until the pollen dries, so it's too early. And then when I'm working, it's usually too late in the afternoon. By the time you get home, best time is like mid-morning for cross-pollinating. All right. Another new coneflower, sombrero, adobe orange. Still a couple snapdragons. And here's a clump. Here's a clump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, that's a perfect clump right there of the drumstick alliums. Haven't focused on them at all, have I, during this tour walkabout? All right. Lastly, our container, yeah, I'm gonna have to really watch the dahlias with the Japanese beetles. Still no flowers, still have blooms, but no dahlia flowers yet. But man, that between that and this, just knocked a Japanese beetle off. Trying to get these to meet up. They finally have those two clematis. All right. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.